Okie doke. So pollution goes up as more of these natural resource inputs get sucked into the economy as productivity goes up. And as we use more and more natural resources, we get more and more pollution. But then we bring in regulation, which either cuts pollution end of pipe or shifts technologies to clean technologies. That's what's behind the data. But why the delay? Why do we first let pollution go up and then bring it back down again? That's what we're going to look at in this video. Okay. It turns out that there is a perfectly rational explanation. So we're going to start again building up another very simple economy from first principles. Okay, so here we've got a super simple economy with, let me see, labor supply, for some reason here I call it H, into a final goods sector and producing a consumption good, which is produced in quantity A times H. So A is productivity and utility is a function of consumption. And A goes up at a constant rate, exponentially. Okay? And now we throw in environmental quality into this model. And we say, oh, we care about the quality of the environment out here where these people actually live. So that quality is also a so-called argument of the utility function. That means it affects utility. So utility is affected by, it's a function of consumption and environmental quality. Okay, so far so good. Now we throw in pollution and we say, actually, inside this box, we've got some resource extraction going on. It might be coal, it might be lots of different things. Depending on exactly what we do here, we get some quantity of pollution, which then lands on the environment over here and reduces Q, environmental quality. So Q is some function. It's affected by pollution. Okie doke. So far so good. Now, let's say that A is very small initially, and then it grows. And let's construct an area like this. So what is this area? This area, any point in this box, is a combination of amounts of consumption and qualities of the environment. Oh, sorry, that's my computer's playing up. So this point here would have a lot of consumption and great environmental quality. This is where we want to be. Okay, we're super happy out here. This point here has terrible environmental quality and not a lot of consumption either. So this is like where we don't want to be. Okay. These points in this corner, they have great environmental quality, but not a lot of consumption. These points have loads of consumption, but terrible environmental quality. So neither of these are very good places to be, right? Now, what's this curve? This curve is something we call a PPF, a production possibility frontier. Basically, any points on this curve or to the left of it inside this area are attainable at a given level of sorry, I'm in the wrong place with my pointer. At a given level of productivity A. So what we can see here is that A is pretty low because all we can attain is these points. So what does this mean? If, say, we attained this point, what would we be doing? what we would be doing then would be, if we go back to the previous picture, that would mean we are sending everyone to the mine, digging up coal as fast as we can and burning it off just for the hell of it to trash the environment. So then we would end up, we're very unproductive, so we can't dig up much coal. So we're not going to do that much damage to the environment, but we do a certain amount. And we have no consumption whatsoever, right? Because we're spending all our time just digging up coal and burning it. Okay, that wouldn't be a good idea, right? Here, we're not digging up any coal at all. But unfortunately, that means we don't have any power for our economy, so we don't have any consumption here either. Here, we're digging up a certain amount of coal, burning it in some kind of power stations or whatever, and using it to run our economy. And we are reducing environmental quality a bit, but at least we've got some consumption. Okay. And clearly, or I hope it's fairly clear, that if you're in this kind of situation, these are very low consumption levels, and all of these points give a high quality environment and low consumption. You're going to more or less, the best point for society is going to be somewhere near the top of this hill if you twist it 90 degrees. Okay, the right handmost point. Losing a bit of environmental quality, you're not too bothered, because if you're getting some consumption, because you hardly got enough to eat here. Okay, so you're going to be choosing points like this. Okay, but now assume that A doubles. Okay, I think it's doubling in the picture. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is a doubling. Yeah, so now if we go all out to trash the environment, we can get twice as far down. Okay, we're not going to do that. But if we go all out for consumption, we're going to get here, and we'll have twice as much consumption as we had here. But we'll also start to have a significant effect on environmental quality. If A doubles again, then we can reach any points on this curve or inside it. And if we just go all out for consumption, we'll get to here. We got a fair bit of consumption, but now we're really majorly reducing environmental quality. Double another couple of times. Well, here we've gone off the charts, but you can see pretty soon we're going to have completely trashed the environment if we choose just to maximize consumption. Okay. Does this make sense? Well, if we think about Victorian Britain, a place near where I grew up is called the Black Country outside and near Birmingham. It's called the Black Country. And that name arose while the whole urban area arose during the 1800s, during the Industrial Revolution in the UK. And it was called the Black Country because everything was black. Okay. The pollution was terrible. Okay. And that was already in the 1800s. If we hadn't done anything to contain pollution at all, we would already be like here or even like here. We wouldn't be here hardly. Okay, if we just stayed, let's just choose the cheapest possible technologies at every turn and just try to maximize the amount of stuff we can produce, we would have horrendous environmental quality. Okay. So, let's see, what have we got here? Laissez-faire. That is the technical term in economics, meaning you have no regulations, you just let firms get on with it. Okay. The firms try to maximize their profits and don't, in the typical economic way of thinking, if they're not regulated, they won't take care, so to speak, about the environment. They will just maximize profits. They will choose the cheapest inputs like coal to get their energy, and we will end up down here with zero environmental quality. Okay. So that's laissez-faire, but we're definitely not following that track. Because if we were, we would be down here, right? So what happens in what we call an optimally regulated economy, or first best economy, if we have optimal regulations? Well, I argued earlier that when we're very unproductive, we have very low levels of technology, we probably will more or less follow the red line. But as we get richer, clearly these options are not the best. We want to diverge in this direction and head towards this corner, right? So we're going to start in this corner with when productivity is very low. As we get more productive, we're going to move out here. And then presumably we're going to head for this corner, and we're going to want both of great environmental quality and plenty of consumption goods. Okay, so we can illustrate that like this. Okay, exactly which of those paths we'll follow. So yeah, that's this is all described in a very technical paper that I published that you can have a look at, but it's quite a tough read. Certainly the main part of the paper is very tough, but you might want to look at the introduction. So a couple of questions that we'll talk about in class. I've drawn 3 green arrows. They're like alternatives. What determines which of the green arrows we follow? Assume that we have optimal policy. What is the optimum? We don't know. From the information in this diagram, we don't know. So what's sort of missing? Okay. And secondly, is it certain that we'll have optimal policy in reality? Well, obviously not. Is policy normally even close to optimal? Is there anything we can say about that? Okay, so hopefully 1 or 2 of you will feel like you can have a go at answering those questions in class. Okay, some of these questions are pretty tricky, right? So let's just have a go, choose one of them, have a think, have a go in class. That's the idea. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop this video there, and then we've got a couple more before we're done.